Hello and welcome to the CFO Cash Flow Options newsletter. Thank you for joining me. Now we're about to talk about this stock, APPN. This is a stock that has been beaten down a little bit. It's about 60% off its yearly highs, and I believe there's an opportunity here. It does have high short interest, and it is a company that could very easily move into a very large market, about a $37 billion market, and big opportunities for this company to continue to grow. And we'll talk more about that in just a moment. Firstly, though, we must always start with the market. So the SPX, the best gauge of the overall market, it has broken to all-time highs, like I mentioned last week. I thought it would. We're sitting at 4247. Prior highs were 4238. So we are at all-time highs right now. And if we look at our 90% accurate opening range, we can see here the first trading day of the month, we put the high and the low, and then obviously the third Friday of the month, which is monthly options expiry, we set the high and the low. These two lines here will determine whether the market is neutral, if it's in between the two. If it's above the upper line, the market is in bullish mode. If it's below the lower line, it's in bearish mode. So as of the last two trading days, we are in bullish mode, right? We're in bullish mode in the market. Despite the headlines, despite whatever else you see, we are going to trade what we see and not what we think. So right now, according to the charts, we are in bullish mode and we will trade accordingly. If we look at our workspace here, we can see that right now, probably the strongest of the indexes, like I mentioned, was the Nasdaq. Okay, so we had a nice double bottom here, broken out of that, formed a bull flag and continued to move higher there. Obviously, it's got all-time highs to take into account here, so we'll see whether it does break those. Last time it had a beautiful double top and moved down. We'll see whether that plays out or not, but if it can get above these prior highs here, Nasdaq could have another pretty big move, or perhaps it reaches there and can't get above. It becomes a resistance level. Who knows? But charting patterns really do work here, and you've always got to be looking for them. I mean, this here is an inverse head and shoulders. We've got the head, got the left shoulder, the head, and the right shoulder there breaking up. I called that for my members. Double top, looking for it to move down. I called that. Double bottom, called that, and now the bull flag, I'm calling that again. So Nasdaq's still looking pretty good. The Russell was up over 1% on Friday, and that's in a trading range. Struggling to sort of get out of that right now, but it's trying. The Dow Jones was up almost 1%, and it was in a strong upward channel. Broke above that, which is obviously very bullish, and now just come back inside of it, which if I just bring the chart in a little bit, you'll be able to see that. There it is there. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there with the transports. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is still moving strongly and above its 21. So overall, I would say that the market is still looking bullish. Are we overdue for a correction? Yeah, sure. But we've got to trade what we see. Don't just look, we're due for a correction. Things are going to move down. That's you've got to actually start seeing things on the charts, and we're not seeing that yet. As far as the overall market goes, we've got the very volatile biotech sector here, which is above its 21. It's looking okay at this point, but the two largest sectors in the market, which is technology, XLK, and financials, they are certainly looking strong. And still at this stage, energy has been doing well. Retail looking okay at this point. No major signs of bearishness at this stage, right? Now, as far as some of the stocks that we've been talking about, CLVT was one of them that I mentioned on the 25th on this channel. Right here, I said, look, it's just broken out of this ascending triangle here with good volume, and I believe that this could have a move to 80. Well, guess what? It's gone to 80, and buying the 72.50 call option, okay, for the 16th of July expiry, we bought that for 460. It's now 875. So what I would say now is close that one out. It's reached our objective. Could it go higher? Sure. But once it reaches my target, There are ways that I can lock in profit and continue to stay in it, but in this case, I'm going to take my money and run. A 90% return in 3 weeks, it's pretty good, right? So I'm going to hold on to that. We're closing out our Oracle trade today. 130% return on this trade. What a great trade this has been for us and our members. The reason I'm getting out of it is because it has earnings. It still looks good, right? Obviously on the charts there's nothing wrong with the stock. And if we go to earningswhispers.com, type in ORCL, you'll see it is confirmed with the company that they are reporting earnings after the market closes tomorrow. So, I mean, if you have a look at Oracle in the past and what it does with earnings here on TradingView, you can see the last earnings, it obviously dropped dramatically. There's been times in history, if we go back, where it's had big runs up after earnings. The point being here, sideways to down. The point being, we don't know what's going to happen. Okay, so when you've got 130% return on your trade, you've got earnings coming up tomorrow after the market close. Just close it. Just right. You've got to reduce risk. Lock the money in the bank where it's safest, and that's what we are going to do with Oracle. So we have closed that trade out now. Another one that I mentioned to you last week was PayPal. We're obviously still in this one. A bull flag here, so breaking above the 21 and 50, forming a bull flag and now starting to break out. Could have a bit of a resistance along here at around 280, just under 280. So we'll watch for that. But right now it's looking pretty good. The bull flag gives us a target here of 295. So, but right now we're about 14% in profit on that in a week. So we'll continue to hold that for now. That one's looking good. Another one that I spoke to you all about on this channel was LMND, and I gave all my reasons for liking this insurance company. And when I spoke to you guys about it, it was $90.47. And that was just, that was on the 1st of June. On the 1st of June, I made you aware of this stock. It's now moved up $16 since then. High short interest, could move into automotive insurance, which would really boost the bottom line for this company. And I believe it's going to continue to move higher. So I do like the look of this one. We've obviously got a very nice profit on that one as well. Another one that I have mentioned on the channel is Ttcf. I dedicated a whole video to it actually. We are in a 25% profit on this one right now. So again, we've got this long term, but 25% profit on that since I mentioned it. It's looking good. Okay, so they're just a couple of trades that I've mentioned in the last week or two, and that's what they're doing. Now, I also mentioned SIRI. It had a very nice move, bit of a pullback, okay, but that's okay. Right now, we've got about a 12% profit on that one as we speak, but we've only been in it for a week. But it's looking good. No problems there. We've got it long term anyway, just continuing to hold that one. Now, the new position that I did mention was a PPN. Now, this one, like I say, has obviously moved down from a high here at one point of 260. So, you know, about a 60% drop from that high. But I think right now it's more of an attractive valuation now for this company. Now, what does it do? It provides low-code automotive platforms and enables clients to build intelligent applications and automate workflows with little or no coding. Now, you know, traditionally, it would take a lot longer, okay, to do the traditional way of coding or automotive or automation platforms. However, with their no coding approach, they can actually build software 10 times faster and at half the cost. That sounds pretty good. So there is a research firm that recently came out and said that 75% of application development will use low code platforms by the end of 2021. That's a big increase from 44% in 2020. So, you know, there's some potential growth there for sure. The company also has a retention rate of 118%, which shows you there's an 18% improvement in average customer spending. So that's obviously a good thing. So if they can hit their target retention rates of 110 to 120%, they can continue to add new customers at a good rate. This could really accelerate revenue growth going forward. So, there are some people that believe, and certainly management of this company believes that this is a $37 billion market opportunity, and this is a company that is at the head of it. So, I think with high short interest as well, this is the other thing with this company. Let's have a look at it. If we have a look at this one, APPN, high short interest, we can see that it has 22% short interest. So 22% of the available float is shorted. That's quite high. Anything above 20% is pretty high. And days to cover, 6. So, 6 days of average trading volume to buy back all of the short stock, which is right here. So that could drive the stock higher as well. So a combination of those two things. We go back to the chart. Obviously, it is below the 200 right now, but a little bit of a bull flag forming there. I'm going to take a long-term position in this for those reasons that I just mentioned, and I like this one going forward and at these levels. Okay, so that is one that we are looking at. Another one that we're looking at with a very conservative type strategy. Okay, I'm looking for this to get above 240. If it does and holds above 240 up until the 16th of the 7th, I'm going to make a 70% return on my risk, which is pretty impressive, right? So I like the look of this accumulation sort of stage going on here. Could very easily break above 240. It doesn't have to have a huge move, just needs to get above 240, and I can make a 70% return on this one. So this is definitely another one that I'm looking at with a using an option spread. So I've got a fixed limited loss and a fixed limited profit, but it also doesn't have to move very far for me to make that 70% return in just over a month. So that is one that I'm looking to set up as well. So, a whole range of things that we're looking at right now, just giving you guys an idea of what I'm doing and what our members are doing right now. But we have made some substantial profits, and we are continuing to do very, very well right now because we're trying to ensure that we're in tune with what the market is telling us. Okay, not reading the news headlines, but understanding what the market is telling us and the money flow. So right now, technically, we are still in bullish mode. Now, a few people asking me about Bitcoin. What's my thoughts on Bitcoin? Let me just show you this chart. So we did have the head and shoulders here, which is obviously bearish. I mentioned this to my members. We made some very good money on Bitcoin stocks as the stock, or as Bitcoin moved down, right? So nice head and shoulders, broke the neckline, had a big move down, came all the way down and touched 30, which is a level of support there, touched 30. And now what it's doing is it's forming a symmetrical triangle here, right? Which means it could break either way out of this. It did start to break down and now back inside of it. So this is telling us that it's going to have a big move. It's certainly going to have a move and a decent move, okay? But we need it to break out of this triangle first, okay? Now, if it broke to the downside, obviously the first place that it could go is 30. I believe if it breaks 30, there's no real support until you get down to 20. So obviously at that point, I would be a buyer of, not of Bitcoin itself, but certainly Bitcoin mining stocks would be an area to make a lot of money, particularly when you're utilizing the power and versatility of options as well. So I'm keeping a close eye on this because we are going to be setting up some positions in this soon. And we don't really mind which way it goes. If it breaks down or breaks up, couldn't care less. We're going to make money in either direction, but I need confirmation. I'm not in the business of having a crystal ball and trying to predict what's going to happen. I need the charts to tell me. So in this case, I need it to break out here, and once it does, we will profit from that scenario. So that's my thoughts on Bitcoin. All right, my friends, I hope you found that useful and you got something out of that. We'll talk again next week. I appreciate you listening. My name's Allison. All the best, and bye for now.